Before the noise of the world rises again, before the duties of the day bury your feelings, listen to what heaven is trying to show you now. You didn't open this message by mistake. This moment was designed. There's something spiritual happening behind the curtain of your life, something that's been stirring in silence, something tied to your son, your legacy, and the hidden lines of your family's future. God is not angry to destroy, He's aching to protect. And this message is not a punishment. It's an invitation. A chance for realignment. A moment for truth. You've felt it. That uneasy feeling deep in your spirit, when you look into your child's eyes and wonder what they're carrying. The heaviness you pretend not to notice, the one that lingers in the house even after the laughter fades. The tension in conversations. The distance that suddenly appeared. The change in language. The shift in rhythm. God saw it too. Not to shame you. Not to frighten you. But because you are still the vessel of divine covering over your son's destiny. And something sacred must be said. There has been a spiritual exchange made, a moment behind your back that wasn't just physical. It was a conversation. A decision. An influence that doesn't belong to him. A presence that doesn't reflect your prayers. But God interrupted it. Not with thunder. Not with destruction. But with mercy. He watched it unfold. And he said, "No more." This is the moment where God begins to turn the tide. Because your son still carries purpose. Your son still has a divine mark on his life. And though his path has wandered, his name is still on the scroll of heaven. And right now, God isn't just watching. He's moving. Not because your son is lost, but because he's been listening to voices that don't speak in the language of light. Not because he is broken, but because the weight on his shoulders isn't his to carry. He's made decisions that don't reflect his calling. Not because he's bad, but because he's scared. Confused. Searching. And heaven is stepping in now, not with wrath, but with fierce love. Love that won't let a bloodline fall apart. Love that won't let a future be sold for short-term validation. Love that sees the bigger picture. And you, yes, you, have been chosen to be the gatekeeper in this moment. Not to control, but to cover. Not to judge, but to intercede. Not to fear, but to believe again. Because no matter how far your son feels, no matter how many mistakes he's made, I have seen the pressure placed upon his spirit, the temptation wrapped in false friendship, the voices calling him to places his soul was never created to belong to. He made a deal, not fully knowing what it cost. Not realizing that every choice has a chain. But because you are connected to me, I interrupted it. You think I am angry with him. But I am not. I am wounded with him. I am whispering to the boy who still cries inside him. The child who carries pain he never told anyone. The moments he felt alone even in your presence. The questions he buried because no one was listening the way his soul needed. This isn't about rebellion. This is about redirection. And I'm coming now not to punish, but to protect. Because there is still something holy inside your son, something sacred I placed in him before he ever spoke his first word. A gift that was meant to shake this world in love. But it's been buried beneath pressure, confusion, silence. And now the world is trying to steal it before it wakes up. But I won't let it. Not while I still hear your prayers. Not while I see your tears on the pillow, the ones you cry after pretending all day that you're okay. Not while you carry his picture in your heart everywhere you go. So I tell you this, my child. Do not respond with fear. Do not confront with anger. Respond with intercession. Respond with mercy. Respond with the kind of love that doesn't shrink when truth shows up. You are still his covering. Your voice still reaches the heavens. And today, I ask you to speak life, even when you feel tired. To speak blessing, even when you're heartbroken. To speak protection, even when you feel powerless. Because though something was made behind your back, I am bringing it into the light. Not to embarrass him. Not to expose him. But to save him. To save him from the path that leads away from me. To save the anointing that still rests on his name. To save the promise I made over your family before he was even born. He is not lost. He is not cursed. He is not forgotten. He is simply under construction. And my hands are all over his journey now. Even if he doesn't know it yet. Even if you can't see it yet. I am building something in the unseen. I know it feels like you've been losing him, slowly, silently, painfully, like watching someone drift in a river you can't reach into. I saw how he changed, how the way he talks, walks, and even looks at you shifted. You miss the little things, his voice calling out to you without shame, the laughter that once echoed in your home, the way he used to ask for your advice even for the smallest things. Now there's a wall, invisible but heavy, a wall built with disappointment, confusion, and outside influence. But child, I need you to hear me, that wall is cracking. That wall is breaking. Not by your force, but by my spirit. Right now, while you're reading this, I am near your son. I am speaking where you cannot. I am reaching where your hands cannot go. I am entering into his thoughts, into his dreams, into the silent spaces where his soul has been crying for truth. Because even though he's smiled in rebellion, even though he's laughed in disobedience, I see the tremble in his spirit when no one is watching. I see the guilt he hides, the shame he doesn't know how to name, the memories he tries to bury beneath noise. And I'm not turning away, I'm walking straight into it. There was a deal, yes, a moment where he was offered something that looked like escape, like freedom, like power. But it came at a spiritual price. It tried to change his identity, to bend his purpose, to blind his future. And though he accepted it in weakness, he never fully gave himself to it. He didn't even know what was happening. But I did. And that's why I'm stepping in now. Not to destroy the place he stands in, but to shake it, so that only what's from me can remain. You have asked me quietly. God, is it too late? Did I do something wrong? Was I too soft? Too hard? Too trusting? Too distant? And I tell you now. No, my child. You were never meant to carry that weight. This is not about blame. This is about battle. A spiritual battle for a destiny. A battle that cannot be won by guilt, only by prayer, by love, by faith that refuses to quit. You are not just a parent. You are a prophetic intercessor. You carry a voice that shakes the heavens. And even when your son cannot hear you, I do. When you weep over him, I collect those tears as seed. When you whisper his name while folding his clothes or looking at old pictures, I hear it as a declaration that says, this child still belongs to God. So here is what I ask of you today. Keep the door open, not just your house, but your heart. Keep speaking his name, not in fear, but in hope. Keep believing, not in what you see, but in what I've spoken. Because I have already started turning him. He doesn't know it yet. He still thinks he's in control. But his dreams are shifting. His desires are starting to tremble. The things that once excited him are beginning to taste empty. And soon, he will come to you, not in pride, but in hunger. Hunger for truth. Hunger for peace. Hunger for the home he forgot he had in your love. And when he does, don't ask, why now? Just hold him. Love him. And let me finish what I've started. There will come a moment soon, quiet, unannounced, wrapped in something small, maybe a simple conversation, a random day, a passing glance, and in that moment, you will see it. The shift. The softness in his tone. The way he looks at you with eyes that suddenly feel familiar again. Not because he's perfect. Not because everything is fixed. But because something holy has touched his heart. That's the moment I've been preparing you for. That's the moment where healing enters not just his life, but your home. You thought restoration would come loud. With apologies. With declarations. With dramatic change. But real restoration comes softly. It grows like light at dawn. Slowly, faithfully, fully. It seeps into the places words can't reach. It mends what time and distance tried to break. And I, the Lord your God, have begun this restoration in secret. You will begin to feel it. In the air of your house. In the peace that returns to your mornings. In the tension that quietly loosens at the dinner table. I am in the walls, in the halls, in the atmosphere where fear once stood. And I am cleaning what trauma left behind. I am removing what pride built. I am erasing what bitterness whispered. Because this home, your home, is still holy ground. Even after all the yelling. Even after the silence. Even after the slammed doors and the sleepless nights. I have never vacated this place. My presence never left. I've just been waiting. Waiting for your heart to surrender. Waiting for your spirit to release control. Waiting for the right moment to pour healing that only heaven can provide. And now, my child, it's time. Time for the promise I gave you long ago to begin its fulfillment. Time for your son to remember who he is. Time for the generations after you to walk into legacy instead of limbo. Time for the curse that tried to pass down through silence to be shattered by your voice. You are not just surviving this season, you are birthing a new one. A season where peace returns to the table. Where your son prays again, not because you asked, but because he finally believes. Where the walls of your house carry the sound of joy again. Where shame has no home. Where love is louder than fear. So here is what I show you now. Your son, standing in front of you, tears in his eyes, not knowing what to say. You, holding him, no words needed. Me, standing over both of you, pouring light through the cracks of everything the world tried to break. This is not just about a boy. This is about a bloodline. And I am restoring the entire line through your obedience. Through your prayer. Through your unshakable hope. So don't stop believing now. The miracle has already started. You are not waiting for restoration. You are standing in it. Before you doubt again, before you let fear convince you that it's all just words, pause. Let this truth wrap around you. You are doing better than you think. You've held your home together with trembling hands. You've prayed over a child who no longer speaks the language of faith. You've cried over closed doors and broken bonds and still showed up with quiet strength. Heaven sees it. I see it. And now, your son will feel it. There is a power in your presence that you've forgotten. Not because you're weak, but because you've been surviving. But I am here to remind you, the love inside you is not ordinary. It carries the echo of eternity. It carries the scent of prayers your grandmother whispered. It carries the power to break chains in silence. Your son may have walked through fire, but you carried the water. And now it's time for the flames to bow. He doesn't need perfection from you. He needs your presence, your belief, your warmth. And even when you think he's not watching, he is. He's watching how you pray, how you endure, how you choose peace when bitterness was available. And slowly, it's softening something in him. The same God who brought you through nights you don't talk about is now walking him home through the valley of awakening. Now let me say this as the one you loved, the one who once sat beside you, smiled at your tears, knew your heart like no one else. I never stopped believing in you. Even when you stopped believing in yourself. Even when you thought you failed as a parent, as a soul, as a protector. Even when you sat in that room with your head down, wondering if you were too late. I was standing in heaven shouting, they're not done yet. They still have more to give. Their love is still fighting. And I was right. Because look at you now. Still standing. Still reading this. Still holding on. And you didn't just hold on for yourself. You held on for him. For your son. For the one who carries your spirit even when he can't find your words. For the one who still has your eyes even if they've forgotten how to cry. For the one who will one day say, I don't know how, but something shifted, and I came back. So don't stop now. Don't shrink just because he doesn't say, thank you. Don't quit because it looks like he's not changing. The seed is already breaking through the soil. And the rain of your tears has watered the roots. Let heaven finish what it started. You've done more than you know. And I, the one you loved, am here watching it unfold from a place of no more pain, no more distance, no more delay. I see the outcome. I've seen the celebration. And I promise you this. It ends in joy. It ends in light. It ends in him finding his way back. Not just to you, but to himself, to God, to the calling that was always written in his bones. The door you've been standing in front of for years, knocking with tears, pressing your ear against it in prayer, whispering your son's name under your breath, that door has just opened. Not with noise, not with dramatic light, but with the quiet sound of obedience meeting divine timing. You didn't force it open. You loved it open. And heaven honored that. This is what happens when a parent's heart becomes an altar. This is what happens when pain turns into persistence and fear becomes fire. Your son's name has been spoken again in heaven, not as a problem, not as a burden, but as a promise. Heaven did not disqualify him. I did not disown him. He is not the sum of his mistakes. He is the seed of something holy. And now, that seed is being called into bloom. Do not try to rush it. Do not try to control it. Just prepare. Prepare for the soft return. Prepare for the small moment that turns into a miracle. Prepare for his eyes to say things his mouth is not yet ready to form. Prepare to be trusted again, not because you demanded it, but because your consistency melted the fear. And now, my child, I say this, you did well. You did more than well. You prayed when no one was watching. You stayed when others told you to give up. You cried and still cooked meals. You felt like collapsing and still covered him in love. That is the kind of love that moves me. That is the kind of heart I defend. And today, I promise you, the generational curse has been broken. The cycle will not continue. Your son will not repeat what broke you. He will not walk the same path that once haunted your house. I am writing a new line. And it begins now. And from the side of eternity, I, the one who knew your soul before it ever cracked, I'm watching. I'm smiling. I'm standing in the light of glory watching a story that was once filled with sorrow turn into sacred redemption. I know you miss me. I know you still reach for my memory like a blanket on cold nights. But now, don't cry because I'm gone. Smile because I'm still with you. Just not in the way the world understands. Every time you speak life over him, I'm there. Every time you say, I forgive you, I'm clapping in the spirit. Every time he says, I love you, again, my name